on the way to these calls, you notice the ding. They're updating when they're on the way to a call. They get all the information from the call takers out of dispatch. You probably familiar with that. And then they shoot it to us as we're en route. I actually like it because it just lets you know what you're kind of walking into. And then, sometimes you get on the scene and be something totally different.
Yeah.
You just never know till you actually get there and assess what's going on.
And all that depends on the caller and the call taker.
Yep, all that. There you go. Exactly. We're going through 4205 Hewitt Street, and it is a domestic dispute between the caller here. Apparently, the girlfriend is upset with him or whatever. She took his keys and cars around
3133, switch over to D2 correspondent, 3133.
So we're gonna be en route to that.
3133.
See what's going on with that. This domestic here, I got a funny feeling we're gonna have to actually go into this guy's house. So we'll just assess it when we get there.
Yeah, this is on the West Philly Avenue. Caller involved in the middle of chasing the female. The female's now inside with him. Correction, the female's inside with her, the caller. And the caller advised she's 232 with a shotgun. And advised she's pointing it at the door to keep the male from coming inside the residence.
That was spawned out of military concept of the warriors battling the wolf, protecting the flock. And it kind of transfers over to a lot of any career that is public safety driven. Police, obviously, fire, us, in that we're there for the protection of those that need our help. And it may not be protection to prevent something bad from happening all the time. A lot of times from our end of it, it's after things have gone wrong, and so we're coming in to kind of help them. So in a way, collectively we're all sheepdogs, and now that has become a moniker for police, fire, EMS, but can easily transfer over to anyone who's in a public safety or humanitarian type profession.
Really, I mean, to dumb it down, I think a good officer is an officer that has good intentions. There's no perfect officer out there. Everybody's human. Even if I have the best of intentions, I'm going to make mistakes. There's going to be times where I say the wrong thing. There's going to be times where I might make the wrong decision and not do what should be done, what the public might think I should do. But, when we're out here in these split-second situations where we have to make a decision right away, there's no way you're going to make the right choice every time. But I think that a good officer is going to have good intentions, and I think that a good officer is going to want to help the public instead of harm the public. I know a lot of times people in the public, view certain crimes as not as big of a deal as others, which, regardless of my personal opinion, we have a job to uphold the law. And so, I think a good officer doesn't necessarily go out here and pick and choose what he's going to enforce, because I think that that's where sometimes people get in their head, I guess you could say, like the stereotyping or stuff like that, because if an officer's out here only enforcing one particular law, and they're letting everything else go, then that could be deemed as unfair by the people that are getting in trouble for that one particular thing. So I think a good officer is just fair in what he does, and just tries to do his best in everything he does. Like I said, you're never going to get everything right, but just not out here purposefully doing things wrong, and not purposefully looking over things and letting things go when you could be doing something about it. A good rule of thumb that I have is, if there's something I have to second guess myself on, it's probably, like, if I have to second guess whether I should do it or not, I probably shouldn't do it, and I think that, when we go through training, we're trained in using discretion. We're trained about having good judgment, and I think just using the tools that you were given and just doing your best every day is really all you can ask.
I'm not so quick to judge folks, not like I did that anyway. You know, they say never judge a book by its cover. But this job, you're going to run into all different types of people versus culture, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic background. And one thing about this job, you're implying the law. So you have to be on the side of the law. You have to apply the law, and it just dispels all the rest of it. And that's what I've learned. I was never really a judgmental person anyway, but this job has really taught me really not to be. The 18 years I've been out here. You have to have I call it having an even keel attitude or a mindset, because you're going to deal with folks that just hate cops. They hate you. You're in this uniform. They've got a person that went to jail or whatever, despite what they've done. People just had a bad experience with the police, and then you've got some folks, man, that just really appreciate what you do. You know, they're very open to you. So it's all types. And you have to be able to stay even and have a balance dealing with that, I think. One thing that I learned to do, and I've learned, and a lot of the younger officers are out here now, they're learning to do this. One thing I've learned to do is you have to keep your emotions and your passions under control. I mean, I've walked in calls and I've had this as a bad call. You understand, you're dealing with people, when they call us, the situation has gotten out of hand because now we're here. So you have to understand, when you walk in that house or whatever you're dealing with, somebody just going ape, you know what, or what have you, you've got to keep your passions and emotions under control and really just listen to what they're saying. As long as they're not violent or physical towards you, you just have to stay calm. Okay, ma'am, sir, how can I help you? No. Okay, all right, just calm down. What's going on? Let's get to what we need to do. Why am I here? And you start into that. And most people will compose themselves and tell you what's going on, and then you're going to have some that just not going to do that, and you have to deal with it. But again, you have to keep, it's my own opinion, you have to keep your passions and your emotions under control in those situations to effect an arrest or find out what's going on.
And the thing is, like, in these kind of neighborhoods, like, a lot of people, especially on a nice day and a Friday, will be out on foot and they'll be walking around. And so, you know, sometimes if you see people standing in front of a store talking to each other, it might be suspicious. But on a day like today, you know, it's really just one of those things, you know, it's not really a big deal. We'll go talk to him. Let's see. Somebody's out here drinking. Let me just throw this away real quick. It's just this beer one of those guys was drinking. I just saw that guy was over there just drinking a beer.
Yeah, okay.
He drove off before we got out, but
Yeah.
just making sure there ain't nothing
Crazy.
too bad.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good. I think it's built up over the years. We got an attorney coming right here.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That's interesting.
So he's trying to get some, you know,
Yeah,
some law-abiding citizens in the area.
I got you. Well, I work this area. My name's Wes.
Mine's is in that West.
Nice to meet you,
right
Nat.
here. Here's Emmett.
I work this area. I come in at 4 in the afternoons.
Oh, okay.
So anytime after that, you know, if you see anything, even people standing over here that
Okay.
seem suspicious, give me a call.
I will.
I'll be over here.
West.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we try to keep it going.
I hear you. Well,
I'm over here. You need anything, soda or something to stop
yeah, I
in.
try to talk to people, especially if they come outside and see what's going on. Just let them know if, you know, if I can't. I mean, people like to be informed, so, you know, if it's something that I'm able to share with them, I will. You know, there's certain calls where you just can't. But, you know, just talk to them, and who knows, you know, that lady might be the one person to save my life one day.
Well, we have what we call we have a CRT teams, community response teams, and they deal with a lot of the community-based issues, like they do a lot of the service talks, they do a lot of the safety briefings around the apartments, like what we're about to do right now. We've got the flyers we're going to hand out to the hotels about all the breaking and entering of vehicles. But as a street officer, you're required to, you know, do that too. Like, I'm going to go down here and you'll see we're going to talk to some of the managers about what's going on and how they can protect the property. We're going to pass these flyers out. But it is a community-based deal because a lot of times, you're right, it's just not about beating folk up and snatching people out of cars and whatever you have to do. I mean, that's part of it. But it is a community-based deal. And I think when you have a good base with your community, it's going to help you affect those arrests. People are going to be more willing to come to you and call stuff in. If they've got somebody that's over here acting crazy or whatever's going on in their community, they're going to be more comfortable because you've reached out to them, if that makes any sense.
You'll get mixed answers when you ask about the body cameras. Personally, ever since I've been out of the academy, we've had the cameras. There was a brief time in field training where I didn't wear a camera, but pretty much my whole time here, I've had one of the cameras, and I absolutely love it. There's been a lot of instances where people have filed false allegations against officers, alleging misconduct, and all they have to do is look back at the cameras, and it proves, whether what the person's saying is true or false. You don't have to sit there and try to figure out who's telling the truth, who's lying, because the camera has exactly what happened right there. So it's helped out a lot, but I think it also has helped the public because now officers are aware that they're being recorded, and honestly, I mean, nobody's going to purposefully, in my opinion, nobody's going to purposefully do something that could get them in trouble or that could jeopardize their career when they know that they're being recorded. So I think it does help the public because police officers are people too. You have bad apples in every bunch. So I think it helps in that aspect too, of holding us accountable. There's still kinks to be worked out. Like we were talking about in lineup, the battery life's not the best, so sometimes they'll die, in the middle of a shift. And so you don't always get to record every single thing. But I would say all in all, they're definitely a good thing and a step in the right direction. The video is becoming public access. I don't see that as a huge issue in my opinion. Some people might disagree with me, but I mean, the majority of the calls that we go on are in public anyways, and there's nothing stopping somebody from coming up and using their cell phone and recording the call that we're going on. So, that, in my opinion, that part of it is not a big deal. But I do think there are some exceptions to that, just like in any situation. And I think that, there's certain videos where, say, maybe a juvenile is involved, or, it might be a sexual assault case or something that's sensitive, and if the public has access to that, not as much for the officer's sake, but for that particular person, for the public to have access to that video that has them, maybe disseminating information, personal information that they don't want released to the public, I think that could be detrimental to a person. I know the public wants access to the videos to make sure that the police are doing everything right and according to the law, but I do think that the people on the other hand need to be taken into consideration as well, because there are certain calls that we go on where we're dealing with people's situations that they might not want the general public to know about, and as a police officer, I'm not gonna go talk to somebody about them being in an abusive situation. I'm not gonna leave that call and go post it on Facebook. But if the general public has access to these videos, there's nothing stopping people from doing stuff like that. And so I think that needs to be taken into account. If they do
a filter.
Yeah, I think they need to draw the line on certain situations. We deal
with a lot of family disturbances, and when you get on the scene, you usually have a single mother, and I don't mean nothing by this. Again, it's just a cause and effect. And a lot of times you've got kids that are they're disturbed, they're angry at their home life, they're angry at their living situation. Drugs and stuff's a big part. Some kids don't have a good self-esteem about themselves, and it just, like, again, it's a cause and effect. When you don't have a good self-worth or a good self-esteem about yourself, unfortunately, you're going to do stuff that maybe you wouldn't do. You're going to try the dope. You're going to do this. You're going to run around with the wrong crowd. So when we get on the scene, we still have to enforce the laws whatever law has been violated. But again, you find yourself sometimes, I know I do a lot of calls, I will affect the law and affect arrests all day, but sometimes you actually end up being a counselor to some of these kids and some of the families. We have a CRI service that is very good. It's called Child Response Initiative that we're able to implement when we go on these domestic calls, especially family domestic type calls, which we can do a referral to them, and they're very good at getting child protective services or getting the family help or jobs and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. I'm in favor of it, and we utilize that system a lot.
Just advised he was outside, and I'll check with the call taker for a description of the mail in his name.
This is a stolen rental car in front of us. Car 1131. Car 1131. It'll be Spring Garden, Pomona. It's gonna be a white Chrysler, Pennsylvania tag, coming back as a stolen rental car. Looks like we're pulling into the PVA of the food line.
What I usually do when I get dispatched to a call, I try to put it in my head, to read the notes that flash up on the computer, obviously. But then I start rehearsing, okay, when I get on scene, this is what I need to do. I need to do this, and then to make sure this and that and the third. I do like a kind of, it might seem kind of corny, but I do like a rehearsal in my head of what I need to do. And then when I get out there, it just kind of flows. If that makes any sense.
At the very beginning, you saw the very first thing I did was got him out of the car and put him in handcuffs. Before I even make contact with them, since the car's coming back stolen, we have enough to detain them because they're in possession of stolen property. So that's why immediately, before we do any talking, anything like that, go ahead and get them in handcuffs, get them detained, and then we can assess the situation. But if the car is stolen, like this one turned out to be, you never know who's in it, you never know why they stole the car, you never know their intentions. Also, it took them a long time to stop from the point where I turned my lights on, which is kind of another indicator that they might have been doing something and that took them a while to stop, trying to hide something or something. So the safest thing at that point is just to get them out first thing and go ahead and detain them, and then see what you got, for everybody's safety. So that's kind of why we did that.
A little bit. I can see it. What's his name? I just like when people does it too. Like, my job is okay. And then, where is he at right now?
There is a message for you.
I just got to do that by the way.
Hold on to your ID, okay? Do you have a driver's license or just ID?
1331.
Who was it?
If you can respond to Union and Dick, we're support assistant 1242. Outlet 31 at 1038.
I got picked up, so I don't know, like I got to be handcuffed.
31 signal 50.
Huh? I got to be handcuffed because I ain't doing anything wrong.
You're detained right now. That vehicle's coming back as being stolen.
I got picked up from that vehicle like 10 minutes ago.
I understand.
Like, I don't live here. I live in Charlotte.
There is a message for you.
So I don't know.
Just got hang tight for now.
How you got it? Alright, man. Like, where y'all coming from tonight? There. Okay. Who's your boy?
I told him already.
Huh?
I told him.
Okay, that's alright. Alright, so he knows. Cool.
208
Alright. How long you known him?
2264 is out with me. We're signal 50 out line.
You hitting it big. Look at you.
They had a blunt wrap up front. I think they were probably about to start rolling one.
On all three, but the roadie, I don't know which one the roadie is. We're showing active probation.
Okay. Good deal. Temple. Firming the hit. Basically saying, making sure that this stolen entry is still valid. And then once they confirm that, they'll send it to the jail to show the magistrate. That way when we come upon them with charges of possession of a stolen vehicle, they'll have that confirmation already.
He said, I was talking to him, I said, what'd you say? Or he said, what'd you say? And he said, what'd you say, Mama? I was like, don't call me Mama.
Oh, that's what he called you? Oh, boy.
Your guy's falling asleep in the backseat of your car. You can tell being arrested this ain't his first time. That he's 1055?
Huh? Either that or he was so nervous, and now that he's caught, his adrenaline's just dumping and he's tired.
I asked him if he had anything to drink tonight, and he said yeah. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. Process the car and have it towed.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna have somebody come out and get it, and they're gonna put it in one of our lots or whatever. They're gonna send one of their tow trucks out to get it.
They're gonna come process the car. They're gonna take pictures of it, maybe fingerprints, that kind of thing. And then we're gonna have a tow truck come get the car. And they're gonna tow the truck, and then the rental company will come later and pick up the car. So, has been confirmed. Now, stolen doesn't necessarily mean they ran up in there and stole it. It could be something as easy as they were supposed to have it back by Monday and now it's Friday and it's still not back, so they reported it as stolen. Stand right here behind the car for me, okay? What's going on, man? That was cold as hell. I've never been there. Which one goes? This one? Oh yeah, you're strong. Well, it's in my hand too.
Between your butt cheeks. We're gonna find it. Alright, we'll go in a second.
Strip search. Don't know how much cash it is, but one of y'all getting ready to count it. A little bit of crack here,
So it was in his
and then
pants
some
pocket?
crack here. This was in his pants. I think it came out with the money. And then this was in his drawers, which that might actually be heroin. I don't know. It's a different color, but it's hard.
I'm watching a lot of stuff on TV, so now I'm an expert.
Oh, are you? Okay. The fact he had it 2 different spots makes me kind of want.
What else did he have on the Barcelona?
Okay, I did not search him. It was the other guys that were out there with me. But they did not. They said he was clean. I have not personally searched him. He was in your car. Did you search him before he got in your car? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You searched him?
Yeah,
Well,
for...
Okay. So let's just say, but if he doesn't have anything...
He's not
on him-
innocent.
Right.
Neither one of them claim it.
So neither one are claiming it. He claimed that he smoked weed earlier. He just said he has nothing to do with this.
What charges are you going to make it based upon this?
PWISD.
I'd charge him both with that and the other stuff just with this guy because it was obviously on him.
Okay. And then also, I'm just going to cite him for...
And
Well, actually, I can just add...
the stuff in court, if he wants to man up later and say that it's his, then he can man up and say that it's his. If not, then he can have his buddy hold the charge for it too.
Okay.
So he can, their lawyers can talk about it and figure out how they're going to do that. But
Go for it.
Actually, what would be efficient would be if you could count the money. It's dope money. They wad it up, throw it in their pocket. It's not. I mean, tax money would be all nice, like in a money envelope, or all nice and orderly and stuff. That's how the bank gives it to you when you cash a check. Dope money's all wadded up and all strung all over the place. And just shoved in
In
your
different
pocket.
wads.
Yes, because you make a delivery of your product, and then they just shove the money in their pocket. Then I wouldn't even test what he's saying is Molly. The TV's paying off, man. Good job. I would test the other stuff now.
Which one? The
The
white
one,
stuff?
the one that I'm saying is crack.
Yeah.
Just to see if it comes back as scheduled to.
Okay. But he's still saying the weed is not his. That was in the car. So they'll both hold that.
Too bad for Mr. Innocent here.
Mm-hmm.
His mama's not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
What is that, about a couple ounces of weed? That's not bad, buds. That's probably an ounce. Not far off. 38. 1 ounce and 10 grams.
Yeah. And then a little bit of shake.
Yeah. That's from the
Shake,
other
shake,
weed that
shake.
he was, that's when he was pulling the weed out from the other bags, and the stuff would fall out in there when he was handing out a bud or two.
Everything all right? Just checking on you. Everything all right? Okay, all right. Okay. That's sad. That's sad. That lady has nowhere to go. Car's okay. She's homeless. We've dealt with her before. And it's literally, she has nowhere to go. It's really sad. But like I said, this is more of a welfare check. We're just checking on her well-being. She's okay. She's in the car asleep. The car doesn't return stolen. No other discrepancies with the tag. And we're moving on.
Seems more and more there's just a lot of stories of like helplessness out here.
It is. It's a lot. You see a lot of that, man, with this job. A lot of people at the very worst. A lot of homeless people, displaced, disenfranchised. You know. I don't want to get all political with it, but it is what it is. You know. Then I'll be honest. A lot of folks start committing crime when in desperate situations like that. You know. I'm not condoning what they're doing. It's breaking the law, but again, it's a cause and effect. Go from having a good paying job to being kicked out of your residence, and then you can't feed your children, you can't feed yourself, or maintain yourself. Quite naturally, the human instinct, you're gonna kick in and do what you have to do to survive.